Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Cabin Signal. Every month, GetUWired provides at least 3 different interviews that are going on our YouTube channel, or if you aren't already subscribed to our newsletter, they come out once a month, tell you boom, 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 what you can watch. So another edition today of Cabin Signal coming to you from our homes. So I'm not at the GetUWired cabin like I am sometimes. I'm currently at my house. And super duper excited today to have 2 very important guests. Now, these are potentially some of the most important people in my professional life, John Crocker and David Quinones. So they are the business development team with me at GetUWired. So if you've been to the GetUWired website, and perhaps you're a client or have been a prospective client of GetUWired, or someone that's just been dibbling and dabbling around on the GetUWired website, when you sign up for a free 30-minute consultation, a free hour-long consultation, or practically any type of consultation with GetUWired, you're going to get one of these 2 incredible guys. So I'm super excited to introduce them today because, I want everybody to know what you're getting into when you sign up to, to start communicating with the wild men from the backwoods of North Georgia, GetUWired cabin headquarters, all of that. You'll notice everybody here has beards, you're starting to see a trend going, John Crocker, who's with us, is definitely the leader of thick and bushy bearddom, but David and I are, close contenders. So anyway, welcome, gentlemen. So honored to have you today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. So these are my guys, man. We meet every morning at 8:30 a.m. Talk about business, talk about not business, and start our days together. And they're an important part of my day, and they're an important part of my life. So I'll give a little brief introduction of these guys. I don't want to trust them to introduce themselves, so I'm going to do it for them. So John has been with the company longest, so I'll start with him. How long have you been with GetUWired, John?
Going on 8 years.
8 years! Holy moly! I can't believe it's been that long. I know I've been with you. We've been together for a long time, but 8 years. Holy cow! So.
Well,
John's been with the company for 8 years. He's had a lot of different roles in the company, and I'm fortunate that he finally gravitated his way into the business development channels at GetUWired, and really fascinating guy. On top of being a fully, having full mastery of bearddom, the guy can shave his face clean and grow a beard in a week. What you're seeing on his face, he could probably churn out in about a week. But he's also into fast cars, guy has a few cars, and he's into his automobiles. And another thing that's really fascinating about John Crocker is he comes from a long lineage of pottery folk artists here in the Southern Appalachian Mountains. So if you go to the Smithsonian Institute, you can see his family's pottery work, in the, all over the place. When you're looking at American folk art, and the Crocker family is an important staple in that. Anybody who knows anything about that art form knows his family name. So great guy, very intelligent, knows everything there is to know about what GetUWired does with marketing and all that stuff. So glad to have you, John. And then David Quinones, and I like to call him David Balls of Steel Quinones. And I don't know if he likes that or not, but I do represent him that way because the dude is, he just never quits. He has the courage to dive into the craziest stuff. And, how many years have you been with GetUWired, David?
Working on my 6th year. So
6 years.
6. Yeah.
Gosh, you're both like old timers, and I know we've been together, but when you say that, it's like, man, yeah, 6 years. And so we've had a really good run. We've been through a lot of stuff. Thousands of clients have come through the doors. and and have been channeled through these gentlemen. And originally, in the early days of GetUWired, I did most of the direct consultations and sales work that came into the company, and then we had a few people before these guys that just didn't make it. I've heard stories of them needing to go into therapy and and other things, but John and David have weathered the storm, have been abused, have been used, have been have done everything. And the world of sales and business and development is not an easy world, but they handle it like champs. And they are the first experience with GetUWired. So when we talk about our customer life cycle at GetUWired, and the rich experience that people have once they get in, they meet their project manager, they're working with our team. We set a really high bar for the experience that our clientele receive inside the company, but equal in proportion to that, it's very important that when they're coming in on a sales call or a consultation, or just need some free advice, or however they're coming in, that experience is as rich and as culture driven and as in alignment with our core values as anything else in the company. And so these two gentlemen set the stage for the excellence that we promise. And that is a tall order, and they do it exceptionally well. And if you've talked to them and you're watching this video, I'm sure you experience real caring, conscientious approach to introducing you to GetUWired. And so let me ask you guys a few questions about this. First of all, how do you think that little intro sounded?
Perfect.
That was great. Perfect.
Yeah, spot on, if I do say so myself.
Couldn't have done it better.
So you're the gateway to the cabin, and you guys have, gosh, I mean, I don't even know how many people you communicate with in a year, but I mean, it's many every day. Potentially you're each communicating with over 1,000 people a year, and communicating with me every day counts as the first 5. But it's fascinating. What do you guys see when people are calling in? Now, we have worked together hard to where when people call in, it's not like a sales call, to where we're like, have a script and we're going through what we need to say about GetUWired and our services, and then say, here's your order form type of thing. It's really about caring and honoring the individual's time, their small business, and really trying to provide value. Where do you guys come with that, and where's that at right now with that? Why don't we start with, since I started with John, let's start with David.
Yeah, so really, you try to, there's a lot of confusion out there, and there are a lot of bad actors. So really just trying to discern where the most immediate pain points are, how can we be most effective in that first call, and then moving that down the line, to the beginning of a project. What are going to be the priority actions that are going to help this client see some returns sooner rather than later? And, let's guide them to, a full solution rather than piecemealing stuff together and, sending them down tech stack rabbit holes.
Great. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I would say it's, with us, it's all about a deep connection and really guiding, like David said, because we have such boutique services that when people come to us, it's never, oh, I'll take option B for $2,000. Like, that's not how we work. So we have to have that conversation, fill out what's going on. David mentioned it. There's a lot of confusion. You know, it seems like half the people we talk to don't even know where to begin. So a lot of times we're helping them just wade through online marketing and different tools and how they all interact with each other. And then on the flip side of that coin, sometimes we get people that really know what's going on, and they're all over the industry, and they really need to be able to talk at that higher level and really see what's possible, because they already understand all the basics, and they've sort of came to us because they understand that we can speak at that higher level and produce quality work at that level. So it's a lot of walking through stuff with people, communicating, and, you know, again, it's about that connection and that guidance, because nothing is really simple and straightforward in what we do. We are sort of the first line of defense when it comes to taking what is in their brain and putting it down on paper so that eventually a member of our team can actually bring it to life.
Well said.
Well put. You know, one thing that you said is a little term or phrase that I'm fond of, and we don't talk about it much anymore. We just do it, but deep connection, you know? And so years ago, like we mentioned, we've been together for years. So I started getting into neuro-linguistic programming, and I went to training with Richard Bandler and had a coach and everything. And really, I had an effort, you know, within myself and my own personal and professional development to be able to, at an expedited rate, have a more meaningful, deeper connection and to build trust into people, with people. Because when you as prospective clients or clients come in, we have a very short window of time, many times, to overcome adversity. Like, people have worked with other agencies or other developers and had a bad experience, so they're bringing that to the conversation. Concerns about the economy of things, giving money to an agency, and there's all sorts of blockages that sometimes prospective clients come in with, you know, that there's a little bit of fear or a little bit of hesitancy in regards to who they're dealing with. And especially if you're calling and talking to 4 or 5 different people or something in your vetting process. Hopefully you aren't having to endure that many calls, but, you know, so what we really try and do is to, first of all, be good listeners, you know, and these guys are good listeners, I promise you. They listen to me all the time, and don't interrupt, and they're great. But you know, they're good listeners. They hear it. We repeat back what we're hearing so people know that we understand it, and then we're able to elaborate, build, and get creative around solutions that will really help people. And it's not about whether it becomes a client relationship or not, but that each touch that a person has with GetUWired is an exceptional experience, because we know that if you call in on a consultation, have a great call with one of these 2 gentlemen, rich experience, warm experience, then even if you don't become a client, you're going to remember that. And when a friend of yours needs some work or something, you're going to recommend it. We get tons of referral work at GetUWired. So with neurolinguistic programming, we learn different methodology of how to communicate, and really also how to put ourselves in a certain state going into the calls to where we are 100% focused on the person we're communicating with. We aren't thinking about the previous meeting, the next meeting. We're thinking about you, if you're in the call with us. And we're 100% intentional and come from it with the spirit of caring for you, which is in alignment with our core values. Our core values, by the way, I will not recite them or have these guys recite them, though they can. They're on our website, so if you want to take a look, they're up there, but we do live by them. So really cool. Now, let me ask you guys a few more questions. So we have the consultative approach, the deep connection. We want to give a completely different experience than other perhaps sales teams or business development teams that are out there. But another thing that's really amazing about you guys is how much stuff like GetUWired does a lot of stuff. So, I mean, you have to know at a pretty deep level about website development, membership site development, API integrations, all things like Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, etc., campaign, funnel development, marketing, top of funnel marketing, creative process, copywriting, the creative process in regards to design, how we look at things, what's our methodology. I mean, it spans huge amounts of stuff, and then we have tons of we're certified in tons of different softwares and have vendor relations all over the place. Like, I mean, on a given day, how much variety of different weird stuff comes your way? It's rarely the same from call to call. How does that go?
Yeah, that's what keeps it interesting. Honestly, it's just so cool. We're constantly having to educate ourselves about, new applications in the industry, new techniques. And, while it's not as deep as, say, a developer on API builds, just having, that walking around knowledge and being able to speak, talk the talk with potential clients and help serve them, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly keeps it interesting, and learning about industries that I never even knew existed. We'll get someone fill out a lead form on the website, request a consultation, and they'll need automation help or website help in an industry that I had no idea existed. So then I find myself spending 20, 30 minutes like Googling who else is in the industry, what do they do, who's the average, what does the target market look like, what are your competitors doing? And it's just a really cool experience because we work with everything from literal mom and pop, like husband wife teams, stereotypical, all the way up to, some really small businesses still, but minimum engagement is 6 figures or even more sometimes for them. So it really does spread the gambit, and it's one of the things that really keeps it interesting.
Yeah, I've forgotten about that. Not only is it the vast array of services and softwares that we represent, but countless verticals and different types of businesses that we're working with, and we have a lot of experience and have had products and things like real estate, fitness, finance, ophthalmology, I mean, you name it, we've had products that have been very vertical specific. But, these guys really have to get in and after you've had thousands of conversations, and then GetUWired itself, based on those conversations, have had thousands of different clients in all different walks of life, all different stages of business, and all different types of businesses. Eventually, you sort of accumulate this unreal library of knowledge that only comes with time and dedication. Like, what you guys know, you can't like bring in a new guy and just teach them, it's
Right.
It's really amazing. And we see that across the company, the folks that have been around a long time, like you, Crocker, you're one of the oldest guys in the company. I think you're right up there. John McBrayer, who's one of our developers, has I think over 10 years now. He's a decade, but you're not far behind him.
Yeah, a long time ago, back when we actually used to get legitimate pay stubs, it said employee number 7 for me. So I don't know how that worked out, but.
Wow. I don't think that's accurate, but.
Not anymore, probably.
And if anything, it's a testament to, the culture and the team, because, a lot of the stuff that I was taught by people before me, people like John McBrayer that, are willing and gracious enough to share their knowledge and, bring in the missing puzzle piece. So it's been a wild ride, and, I couldn't do it without the full team, but this team, the three of us, this island of trust is really what makes it a pretty incredible experience. I don't think, I would highly doubt there's another sales team out there that has the kind of, I don't know, I hate to use the word collaboration, but the way that we work together is pretty sweet.
The glue.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and one of the things, just to let you folks out there know that, so I've been really fortunate to have these guys, you know, the universe or fate, you know, brought us together, and some hiring practices. but like it's really worked out well, is that, you know, I've been in all sorts of roles professionally through my life, and you know, I always wind up in some form of a business development, sales, strategic, you know, leadership role, and I've been, in the places I've been, you know, the sales teams have always been like, oh, you know, like, oh, you couldn't do anything else with your life, so you became a salesman or some stuff like that. And there's sort of like this attitude in the world, or maybe I've just been sensitive to this, because I've been in that role for my life, and I love the realm of serving people through the art of the sale. And people treat it like it's not a true skill set or not a true craft. And it's my belief that what these guys have is as valuable and as much effort has gone into it as someone that, as an example in the agency world, is a, you know, senior PHP developer or a great designer or a great copywriter or any of the skill sets that exist in our entire company. It's all craft based, and I would be willing to bet that the craft of sales and the craft of meeting new people, earning their trust, and getting them into the company requires just as much skill and dedication as any other craft. And I think that that applies across the world in regards to the way these courageous, you know, individuals are able to operate. And so with that in mind, as a background for the way that we approach sales, it's the way that we approach our team. We don't treat it like in my office, there's not some whiteboard that shows how many deals Crocker got this month and David, and you know, we're seeing who got the most, and, you know, all of that sort of thing that you see on sales floors or anything like that. It's really more of a professional, holistic type of scenario, that this is what we come in, this is what we do, this is how we serve humanity, this is how we serve the company, and this is how we serve ourselves. And it's not about closing the deal or anything like that. You know what? If we serve you and care for you in the consultation process, and you feel that deeply, we gain your trust, the transaction is going to arrive. It doesn't have to be some sort of a move, you know? I promise you these guys will eventually say Visa, American Express, or MasterCard. But
We'll get to that point. Absolutely.
yeah, but the journey, you know, the journey there is not like a high pressure deal. You know, we're fortunate that we have a lot of people that we have the opportunity to talk with, so we're able to keep the business busy and everything, and we can really operate from a place of servitude. So you guys do a great job at that. Any thoughts on any of that? I just rambled.
To your point, you know, as long as we develop that trust and we provide value in that call, the transaction is coming. It might not be immediate, it might not be that month, but it could be 12 months later. But as long as we respect the relationship, we'll eventually work together if the need is there.
There's been a few times where I'll follow up with someone and they'll say that they picked another agency or they hired a developer in India or something like that, and I'll hang up the phone, and back when we were in the office every day, I'll look up and holler at David and say, they'll be back. And then 12 months later, they come crawling back with their tail between their legs with a broken website and a CRM that doesn't work and isn't integrated. And they've spent all this money and all this time, and they've felt the pain. And now they understand why we exist and what we're good for, you know, so they immediately come back to us.
Yeah, well, you aren't all swarthy about it and give them a hard time about it, though, are you?
No. I say, I always keep the conversation open. I say, hey, I'm always here for you. Use me as a resource, even if you're working with that other team. Again, you know, maintaining sort of that I'm your go-to man, and I'm always here if the timing's ever right to reopen the conversation. We're certainly not going anywhere, and people appreciate that.
Yeah, as long as we can position ourselves as the anchor amidst the storm and the chaos out there in the small business world and in marketing, online marketing, then yeah, the conversation will come back.
Yeah, and I see it all the time. Like you guys giving me updates. Excuse me. You guys giving me updates. It's like, yeah, man, I started talking to this guy like 8 months ago, and you know, and now he's come around and he's coming in. Like, you know, we're seeing stuff like that all the time. It isn't a quick, you know, it isn't always a quick push into, you know, into working with us. Sometimes the road is a little bit slower, but I'm consistently see that. Now I see people that called in today, you know, are moving quickly and want to get into something, but you know, there's many people that it's like, you know, wow, you know, where did this guy come from? You know, he, you know, originally reached out to us, you know, a year ago or sometimes even longer. You know, it's amazing. So that glue that you guys put out there, you know, people wouldn't be calling us back, wouldn't be calling you back if they had a, you know, a crappy experience, you know. And it's amazing. You know, I get hit up by salespeople all the time, and business development people and everything. And sometimes they have this like some sort of hook or pitch that'll actually get me to take a call or to, you know, I will tell you that if you want a meeting with me and you're trying to sell me something, if you send me like a laptop or an Xbox or other things people have sent me to get an appointment, like you'll get that appointment. It don't mean I'm going to buy anything, but I will give you an hour of my time if you send me a good enough gift. So I get that sort of stuff. But then when we get into it, it's like, you know, people hammering me, and I hate that experience. You know, I hate that experience in everything I do. Like, just let's do this. If it's right, I'm gonna buy your product. I'm gonna buy your service. I'm gonna buy your automobile. I'm gonna buy your boat. I'm gonna buy your house. Whatever it is, it doesn't need to be this just crappy experience, you know?
It's right. It's right. Always follow up, but never be desperate for the sale, because it's just not a good feel for or look for you or for the potential client. Just, you know, just try to honor it. Don't push it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no fun.
And filling that out too is also sort of part of the technique and part of our skill set, because we do talk to some people who come to us and they say, hey, we're putting together a plan for 2021. We want to do all these things, and we're going to have a year's worth of work, and it's going to be a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. And that is an entirely different series of follow-ups, seeing as to how we're nowhere near 2021 yet, as opposed to someone who comes on board and says, hey, I need to take advantage of the COVID crisis, and I need a quick templatized website up, you know, relatively quickly with a 6-product shopping cart to go along with it. And we need to move, you know, yesterday. Those are two totally different conversations, two totally different follow-up methodologies. And yeah, we also have the luxury of not needing to really ever chase down a sale. Like David said, you know, we don't want to look desperate, but we also don't really need to. You know, like you mentioned earlier, we get a lot of referrals. People are sort of seeking us out, almost like they have an ailment and we're the doctor, and they know that we have the remedy. So they're looking up to us and seeking us out and coming to us for advice and coming to us for help. You know, we really don't have to pound the pavement and knock on doors and throw big numbers at it in hopes that we get one or two to convert. That's really not our style.
Yeah. You guys have never cold called. What do you mean you don't generally have to? You've never. Have you ever done a single cold call in your entire career, 8 or 6 years at GetUWired?
Yeah, the first week I worked at GetUWired, before in my very first position, I was in sales working with Lee, and he gave me the Infusionsoft database and said, go to the oldest contact and call them, and then work your way to the newest. So for like 2 weeks, I dialed numbers.
Well,
that was old school and definitely not the norm.
yeah, I don't even remember anything like that, but it doesn't surprise me. So that's really cool. So let's switch gears a little bit here. And so here we are, we're at home. Now, normally you guys are in the section of the headquarters building that I lovingly refer to as the ghetto.
Just the way we like it.
They've got their own little world, that's blocked off and on their own, to where people won't mess with them. Maybe it's to where they won't mess with people, but now we're sort of separated, and just like the whole company, man, there's like 40 people that are working from home now instead of at the office. I go up there a couple days a week, but how's that treating you? The COVID work from home thing, and still keeping the pace, doing all of that effort.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't missed a beat. We really have the ability to do everything we need to do from home. The most difficult thing really was figuring out in the early days how to get our phones from the office to ring on our computers here, and to do all the sales tracking stuff and everything else that we have. And once that was figured out, all the T's have been crossed and all the I's have been dotted. Communication is, I would say, amped up with the people that I need to communicate with. It may have waned a little bit. There's not as much socializing at the water cooler because there's no water cooler with other people at your house. But at the same time, David and I are probably now in more constant communication. We probably chat with you more about just random stuff here and there, just to be sure we're keeping everybody in the loop, because you don't want to slide too far away from what everyone else is up to. But I feel like there's been virtually no handicap on our side. But then again, we're not oftentimes finding ourselves in large strategy meetings or doing anything that really requires a ton of collaboration. So most of what we do is one-on-one consultations and follow-ups and that type of thing, which is a pretty independent process anyway. Even when David and I were sitting 7 feet from one another, we weren't necessarily collaborating day to day so much as we were just socializing when it came to that,
Or shit talking.
Hey, this is a no profanity. Kids watch this show. You see how I've had my resolve? You haven't heard a single swear word out of my mouth. And then Quinones, just broke the entire formatting here. But okay, we're good. What do you think, David? How's working from home coming for you?
I've lived close to the office about 5 minutes. I'm probably one of the closest people, so I'm blessed either way. As John has said, it's really hasn't put a stumbling block in front of me. In fact, I feel like this quarter, I was really concerned at the beginning of this COVID crisis, but I feel that this quarter has been one of my strongest quarters in my history. So I'm just going to keep rocking it, keep working for the team, and keep trying to help clients.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's amazing. I had a little bit of fear in there too. Things got really crazy early on in COVID, and it was not looking good. And then, things have really rebounded. It didn't take long to rebound either. I thought it was going to continue on a downhill slide for a long time, and it really didn't. We slid down, and then it plateaued, and then we sort of came back up.
And if anything, that's a testament to the spirit and resolve of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs. So
yeah, that's really incredible. Cool. Yeah. Well, real proud of you guys. I'm real grateful for you. You do a great job. You know, we hear nothing but favorable feedback, you know, from the project managers, the way you turn over projects to the teams that are going to be serving our customers, everything, you know. We just get really great feedback. And I wanted all of you out there just to, you know, look in the fishbowl and hear a little bit and see a little bit about the people that you would potentially talk to if you come to our free consultations, or you call GetUWired, or many times if you want to talk to me, you'll wind up talking to one of them, you know, because I'm busy and all sorts of other reasons. They can cover for me and do so a lot. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today, and thank you for being such incredible dudes and great partners in this journey we have together.
Yeah, thank you for the journey.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Well, right on. Well, Dobbin Buck signing out from another super fun, culture-based edition of the Cabin Signal. If you haven't checked out our other interviews on YouTube, go to the GetUWired YouTube channel. There's a whole slew of them now, and we're putting out about 3 a month. So some really good stuff, different SaaS companies, different clientele, different cultural internal videos, other things like that. There's a lot of fun and a lot of wisdom that goes on in there as well. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We're posting snippets of these interviews and different things on those platforms, and also give you a deeper lens into our culture, and a lot of fun. So thank you for tuning in today. Keep an eye out, sign up for our newsletter, follow us, and we'll see you again soon on the Cabin Signal.